This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
And happy Saturday morning, everyone. Welcome to the Dr. Sem Yankees Show. One of these days, I want to do an introduction like Chris Russo, the Mad Dog, used to do on WFAN all those years ago. I used to love listening to Mad Dog. And he would do that. And good afternoon, everybody. How are you today? It's the Mike and the Mad Dog Show. I used to love that. That was great. One of my favorite memories. This happened, I don't know, probably around 2005. Maybe it was earlier. I had about a 30-minute commute to get home from work. And it was in the summertime. And I got in my car, and the Mike and the Mad Dog Show was just beginning. I could work shorter hours as a principal in the summertime, so I was leaving. It was a little after 2 p.m., and Mad Dog got on the radio, and he did his introduction, and then he just started ranting, as he was known to do, but tongue-in-cheek. It was fun to listen to. And he was complaining about the Yankees. They always win. It's not fair. And Dusty Baker, come on, Dusty, you're the manager of the Giants. You got to do better. Just once, I want the Giants to win the World Series. I'm so tired of this Yankee stuff. And he went on and on for most of my commute. And then just before they went to the commercial break, he said something like, see? I told you I could spend the whole first segment or 20 minutes or whatever he had said just talking about nothing. And it was great. It was almost Seinfeldian. I loved it. I miss Mike and the Mad Dog, but I was much more a fan of the Mad Dog because he was very, very entertaining. Mike was good. I heard WFAN from the very first moment it came on the air in 1989, I believe. And I listened to Mike Francesa. I believe he was on the air with Ed Coleman at 10 a.m. when the radio station first started. I think that was their first gig together, and I enjoyed listening to that. A Yankee fan and a Met fan. And then, of course, Mike was moved to the drive time and became a huge star. And the Mike and the Mad Dog Show was something that was must-listen sports radio for a good long time. And it was fun, and it was great while it lasted. But like everything, things come to a close. Not this show. No. We are here, going strong. I'm recording this on Wednesday evening. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving. When you're watching this, of course, Thanksgiving was a couple of days ago. But I need to record super early this week because it's Thanksgiving and my whole family will be home and we have a weekend full of family activities and great times. And I don't think I'm going to have the necessary time once everyone gets here to break away to do the show. And I've never missed a week yet, and I don't plan to. So we always begin every show by saying, let's make today a great day. And how do you make the day great? Why you do great things. Why you show appreciation. Why you look for the good. And if you can't find the good, you make the good. And that's one way to make the day great, by doing for others as you would wish them to do for you, by giving love, by sharing compassion, by doing nice things and noticing the nice things in the world and appreciating them. If you went to Start Spreading the News on Thursday, on Thanksgiving, and you can go there now, all of our articles are there. The old articles that aren't on the front page, if you look on the top of the screen, it says blog. If you click that, you can scroll through there There's also a search bar. You can type in the main words and find articles that way. But on Thursday, we had an open thread where everyone could write what they were thankful for. And I started. It was my thread to begin with. And I gave thanks to lots and lots of things. My family, my kids for being the great kids, and me having the opportunity to coach them in all their little league years. For 15 years or so, I coached my boys in the recreation baseball programs, and for just having catches together, for going to the Field of Dreams with my mom and my dad, to going to ball games with my family, to playing in the backyard, and of course, to continuing to play even today with my son as we play very professional or very competitive baseball, non-professional, all summer long, which is great. And as you might remember, our team actually won the championship this year, which was just super spectacular. So lots of fun, lots of wonderful memories. I'm thankful for so much. I encourage you to go on the site and see what I was thankful for. One of our main writers, Tim Cable, wrote what he is thankful for. And it's my hope that a lot of readers wrote in the comments and shared what they are thankful for. Of course, I always have to give thanks to my wife for putting up with all the hours I spend writing, the books I write, writing the blog, start spreading the news, going strong, for putting up with all my podcasts and all the other things I do. I am truly blessed. And of course, if we're giving thanks, I need to take a moment and thank the Lord. God is good. God is great. And God has blessed me and so many with wonderful lives. And it would be inappropriate to forget to thank God for all the goodness and the love that he gives every day. All right. The Yankees made a great move just earlier this week when they hired Brad Ausmus to be the bench coach. One of the things I've been very critical about with the Yankees is the fact that they seem to have this very narrow vision of who can coach. This has really gotten much more narrow ever since they brought in Aaron Boone. I think one of the big mistakes the Yankees made was not putting a seasoned baseball guy next to Aaron Boone on the bench, especially when Boone first started as the manager, because he had no experience. He had never coached a major league team. He had never managed a major league team. He had never coached in the minor leagues or managed in the minor leagues. He didn't coach a college or manage in college. He didn't even coach a high school team or a little league team. And the Yankees didn't put a seasoned professional, someone who's been there, done that, next to him to help him along. Even Joe Torre, when he started, had Don Zimmer next to him. And the Yankees, instead, they went with a lot of guys who'd never coached before, or their only coaching experience was in the Yankees system, and they perpetuated that problem year after year. And this, I really believe, is the first time they're going out of their system to get a long-term baseball guy, a guy who's been in the game since the 1980s when he was first drafted by the Yankees. He played a ton of games. He was an all-star. He won Gold Gloves. He managed the Tigers, and in 2 of the 4 years, the Tigers did very well. He was a coach on the A's. He managed the Angels. That didn't go as well. He played for a host of different teams. He brings a different perspective. He doesn't have to follow the new Yankee way, which isn't working. If the goal is to win World Series, the Yankee way, Brian Cashman's way, isn't working. If the goal is to bring in lots of money, I think it is working. If the Yankees ever said that out loud, our goal, if it's true, is to make money, we don't care about winning, I think they would alienate their entire fan base. So we have to go with the assumption that the goal is to win World Series. And if that's the goal, it's not working. So I'm thrilled they brought somebody many years too late, but I'm thrilled they finally did it. They brought somebody with different experiences, different ideas, and a different career path than any other Yankee coach in the Aaron Boone era to sit next to Aaron Boone, hopefully to be the bench coach and to be someone who can help the Yankees see things hopefully a little bit differently. I was a principal for 24 years. I was an administrator for 26 and a half or 27 years. When you are a leader, it's nice when people tell you, you're the best. Oh, you're so smart. What a brilliant idea. It's great when people say, you're the best principal we ever had. Feeds the ego. And it was probably true sometimes for some people. I had a great career. But being told things like that doesn't necessarily make someone a better leader or a better administrator or a better decision maker. Great leaders face the reality and accept other people coming into their office or telling them wherever, you know what? You kind of blew it. You know what? You need to see this a little bit differently. If all we're told all the time is you're doing it the right way, it's all good, we don't grow. Great organizations thrive and flourish when there's open, honest, and direct communication between the leader and the people he or she leads or works with. And I don't think the Yankees have really had that. And I hope that Brad Ausmus brings that to the Yankee clubhouse, to the Yankee bench. Because if he does, the Yankees will only benefit. Great organizations thrive when there are differing opinions that different people can listen to, analyze, consider, think about, and act upon. And the Yankees have really been without that for a long time. So I think this is a great hire. He was also a phenomenal catcher defensively. And the Yankees have an up-and-coming player who they hope will hit Mr. Wells, but whose catching skills have been in question for a long time. Well, who better to learn under than a guy who caught in the major leagues for 18 seasons? Now, he's not the catcher coach per se, but also a functioning organization realizes that when you have talent, even if that person's job description isn't necessarily X, Y, and Z, if that person can help in the areas of X, Y, and Z, you let that person's expertise help you in the areas where he or she can help you. And I think Brad Ausmus can help Austin Wells. I think he can, and I hope he does. So I think that was a brilliant move. You know, on the show, I like to talk about the books I write. Here's Roy White's book. I'm very thankful to Roy White for working with me this last year and last year for us to put this together, his wonderful autobiography. If you haven't read it yet, I think you should. And of course, I have some other great books, a couple of years old now, but an award winner. The Roy White book won some awards too. An award winner here, The Least Among Them. And of course, my wonderful novel. If you haven't read this, you want to get this overnight and sit around for Hanukkah or Christmas or whatever you celebrate in December with your family and just read this out loud together. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you might find some faith, but it's not a God book. It's a faith book. There's a lot of faith in here, but it's a real story about real people who do real things. It's a story about a father and a son and the person he falls in love with. It's a story of baseball and running and schools. It's a story of life. It's really the real story of America. In a way, I'd like to think it's the new great American novel. If you haven't read it, you should. But today I don't want to talk about my books, even though I just did for a moment. I want to share 3 books. The first one is called The Kid Blasts a Winner. It's by Bill Nowlin. This book talks about each of Ted Williams's home runs. But not just his home runs, the 110 of them that decided games. It's pretty cool. 110 home runs of Ted Williams's career were the ones that made the difference in the ball game. And this book lists and talks about all of them. Now, to be honest, I didn't read it. But we're going to have a great review of this book on Start Spreading the News coming soon. But the person who read it was my dad. And my dad has been a Ted Williams fan since 1946. So I figured there was nobody better to look at this book and give a review than the world's biggest Ted Williams fan who's read every single thing there is about Ted Williams. And my dad loved it. And if he gives it the thumbs up, this book deserves a thumbs up. The Federal Case by J.B. Mannheim is a fantastic book. You see how it says book 4 of the Dead Ball Files? He had written 3 previous books. I've talked about them here before. This book isn't necessarily number 4 in a series. The first 3 books were part of a trilogy. This book covers some similar ground. There are some similar characters, but it's a completely different story. And J.B. Mannheim, who wrote this book, has a tremendous way of weaving a tale. You hear it from one perspective, you hear it from another perspective, you hear it back from the first perspective. All of a sudden, a different character gets introduced. It's one of those books where you will be turning page after page because you can't wait. You just can't wait to see what happens. And then a couple of weeks ago, I was at a book sale, and my son Ethan found this book. It's called The Wax Pack. And we looked at it, and I said, I never heard of that book. But it's an interesting idea, and it's one of those things, sometimes when you're an author, if someone else comes up with the idea that seems so simple and great and wonderful, you look yourself in the mirror and you say, why didn't I think of that? I should have thought of that. The Wax Pack is about this guy, Brad, who opens a pack of baseball cards, a 1986 unopened pack. He bought it in the year 2000 or 2020 or 2019, something like that. Got an old pack. That was the year he first started collecting. And he decided to try to hunt down each of the players in that pack. And this is the story of him going cross country, driving around America, looking for these ball players, trying to meet each and every one of them, and the experiences that he has when he meets them. If you can see here, I'm not quite done. I guess I'm about 60% done, but it's been a fun ride. I've been enjoying this book tremendously. So I can't tell you how it ends because I don't know, but I wanted to make those couple recommendations for some books that I've been recently engaged with, either directly or indirectly, and books that I highly recommend. if you listen to the Start Spreading the News podcast, EJ Fagan and I have been discussing a lot of what the Yankees need to do going forward. I'm really hoping that the Yankees go big this winter. I have reasons to believe they will. I think they realize the fans are losing their patience. I think if they have a bad year, that Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone and probably lots and lots of guys will lose their jobs. I think Hal Steinbrenner realizes that the Yankee fans' faith in him is dwindling. And it might be at its lowest point ever. And while the Yankees are making money and filling the stadium and doing all that great stuff right now, that can change in an instant. That can change in a heartbeat. And if it does, all of a sudden the Yankees won't be making the kind of money that they were these last few years, these last many years, actually. The Mets are doing great things. The Mets have a dynamic owner who seems much more in tune with the baseball scene. He's a fan. I don't think Hal Steinbrenner's a fan. And even though the Mets haven't started winning yet, the Mets keep doing things to generate interest. They had a Mets Day last spring or something like that, where different places celebrated the New York Mets. I don't think the Yankees have ever done anything like that. The Mets had commercials during the Super Bowl. Now, that doesn't necessarily, and it doesn't at all, translate to wins on the field, but it creates excitement. And a couple of weeks ago, the Mets announced this giant plan that they're going to do to remake that whole area around Citi Field much nicer. It's really going to become like a hub, an entertainment place, a concert hall, places to eat, places to hang out, little parks, venues, jogging trails. It looks like it's going to be amazing. And this is what I'm saying. It hasn't happened yet, but the Mets seem to be much more focused on doing the things to generate interest, to get people talking, to make their team exciting. And the Yankees haven't been doing that. The Yankees have been in the Yankee Stadium area for 100 years. They haven't done anything like that. The place where the old Yankee Stadium is supposed to be a beautiful park, but it's really not. If you've ever been there, it's really sad how not nice it is. And if the Mets pull off what they're trying to do, while the Yankees haven't really been able to do anything, it's just another indication that the Mets, even though they're not winning yet, seem to be doing the things to make them much more fan-friendly, much more approachable, much more part of the whole scene of what New York is about and what the area around their stadium is about. And if the Yankees don't win, because that's what the Yankees have, the Mets have the better ballpark. If you've been to both stadiums, you know that. Citi Field is a much nicer place to watch a ball game than Yankee Stadium. It just is. I wish it weren't true. It just is. And if the Yankees don't start winning, because that's their brand, they could lose the city. It's happened before. And then all of a sudden, we finished 500 every year for 500,000 straight years doesn't really interest people. Nobody really cares. It's fun. It's nice. It's great to say. But if there are no flags flying from the rafters at Yankee Stadium saying world champions, the Yankees don't really have a brand, because that is their brand. The Yankees brand is winning World Series. And so, for a lot of reasons, many I just mentioned, the Yankees really need to go big this offseason. And I hope they do. I'm fearful they won't. I'm fearful that the big deals they're going to make are going to be ill-conceived big deals, like giving Cody Bellinger 12 years when he's had one good year out of the last 4. I'd rather see them invest in an unknown like Lee from Korea, who I think it could potentially be a great major league hitter. There's always people that are going to say he can't do it. He can't do it. They said the same thing about Ichiro. He won't hit in the major leagues. Players from other countries can't hit in the major leagues. Who proved them wrong? Right? Let's let the Yankees go bold. And if it doesn't work out, to say, hey, we tried, it didn't work out, we're going to get somebody else. But they can't do that if they give 12 years to a player like Cody Bellinger. They have to get Yamamoto. I don't think they will, because I think Brian Cashman alienated the agent, Mr. Wolf, Yamamoto's agent. I think he basically said, I'm not having my client sign with the Yankees because I don't think it's a good place for players to play. That's basically what he said. I hope I'm wrong. The Yankees have to do everything they can to get Juan Soto here because he's the best young player in the game that's available. But if they do those things, I'm not sure they will. I'm not sure they have the ability or the wherewithal or the stick-to-itiveness or the go-get-emness or whatever it is to do it. If they don't, they could lose this city quickly. I hope they don't. I hope they go big. And if they do, it could be an exciting, fantastic year for the Yankees. Oh, boy. But you know what? It's Saturday morning. Thanksgiving was a couple of days ago. Of course, for me, it's tomorrow, but that's besides the point. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I hope you had the opportunity to say thanks and to say I love you to the people in your life who you love and who matter to you. And I hope your day was wonderful. And I want to say that I give my thanks to all of you. Those who watch this program, those who read on Start Spreading the News, those who send comments. It's great. And I do appreciate all of you. I hope you continue to have a wonderful Thanksgiving weekend. And I'll see you right back here next Saturday morning at 7 a.m. Have a great day.